The prophetic signs. 9 sacred symptoms revealed to the chosen before the miraculous eclipse. In the quaint English village of Eldersham, as anticipation swelled for the approaching eclipse, the air thickened with holy whispers. Folks spoke of divine signs, tales passed down like cherished heirlooms. Pastor Thomas, a devoted shepherd to his humble flock at St. Peter's Church, felt the weight of these revelations heavy upon his heart. Something miraculous loomed. That very evening, he took his place before a congregation brimming with expectancy. "The Lord reveals his wonders," he declared, his voice echoing through the weathered walls. "Miracles are on the horizon." Yet skepticism danced in the eyes of the older members, their faces creased with doubt from years of unanswered prayers. The stories of divine grace now felt like distant echoes. But then the tranquility shattered. Mrs. Agatha, the beloved elder whose kindness was legendary, slipped into a grave illness. Her absence held a heavy silence, and the community rallied around her bedside, their fear palpable. As they clasped hands in prayer, the air thick with faith, something remarkable began to unfold. Just as the eclipse began to swallow the sun, stirring the winds into a fervor, an inexplicable lavender fragrance filled the room where Mrs. Agatha lay. It hung in the air like a heavenly promise. Whispers traveled from the mouths of the faithful, echoing in the twilight. "Look, a light," someone gasped, pointing as a warm glow enveloped her frail form. Hearts raced, filled with a newfound hope, the type of hope that felt almost celestial. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The eclipse deepened, casting purple shadows over the room, while outside, gasps of awe emerged from the villagers witnessing the celestial marvel. "Divine intervention," Pastor Thomas murmured, his heart pounding as he guided them in prayer. Each word felt like a bridge between earth and heaven, tugging at the very essence of belief and fear. With the moon's final embrace of the sun, a remarkable sign flickered in the sky, a radiant halo breaking through the darkness, and the crowd erupted in joyful declarations, tears streaming down their cheeks. A palpable wave of unity surged through them, washing away decades of doubt. Yes, they were changed. They witnessed something beyond themselves, a tapestry woven by faith. Hope surged anew, yet deep inside, Pastor Thomas wrestled with questions that gnawed at his heart. In a world where science often claimed the throne, what did it truly mean to believe? The boundaries separating faith and logic began to dissolve like the shadows encroaching upon the village. As the twilight cloaked Eldersham, the final, glorious light flickered to life, illuminating not only the sky, but the hearts of the villagers. They stood on the edge of something wondrous but grave, holding tightly to their flocks while wondering if faith could triumph over doubt. The darkness deepened, and they braced themselves for the unveiling of the eclipse, standing in haunting anticipation of what lay ahead, not knowing if it would be the dawn of promise or the test of their enduring trust. As the moments stretched like the shadows around them, a hush fell upon Eldersham, as if the very air itself awaited the unfolding of a divine narrative. The rich aroma of lavender lingered, a fragrant reminder of Mrs. Agatha's warmth, bridging the celestial and the earthly. Pastor Thomas peered into the illuminated faces of his flock, his heart swelling with a mixture of resolve and trepidation. "Can you feel it?" He beckoned softly, the sincerity of his eyes shining brighter than any star. The hand of God moving through this darkness, illuminating our souls. A fervent murmur swept through the crowd, weaving belief through the fabric of their hearts. The glow surrounding Mrs. Agatha pulsed gently, an ethereal rhythm that synchronized with their prayers. Each utterance felt like a seed cast upon fertile ground, waiting for hope to take root. Yet, amid this celestial marvel, a voice broke through the chorus of faith. It belonged to old Mr. Harris, a longtime skeptic, his voice trembling with confusion. "Pastor, what if this is only our wishful thinking? What if the stories have led us astray?" His brow furrowed deeply, eyes darting between the miraculous light and the realities of a life filled with disappointments. A moment of silence enveloped them, heavy and weighty. Pastor Thomas could see the doubt flitting through the congregation's eyes, mirroring Mr. Harris' struggle. But he sensed something profound bubbling within, something that might just break the chains of skepticism. "Ah, dear brother," Pastor Thomas replied, stepping closer, the warmth of their shared humanity holding them together. "Faith is not merely the absence of doubt. It's the embrace of possibility, even amidst uncertainty. Look around. As shadows envelop us, we hold on tighter to each other. We are not alone in this." Eyes turned to the glowing figure beside them. Mrs. Agatha's gentle breathing seemed to sync with the heartbeats of those surrounding her. And within that sacred circle, a tapestry began weaving itself, a story of loss, love, and now, perhaps, healing. As if responding to their unspoken prayers, a flash of brilliance erupted outside. The sky transformed into a celestial canvas, streaks of gold and silver cutting through the darkness, captivating each gaze. "The heavens proclaim his glory," Pastor Thomas exclaimed, his voice soaring high like the birds taking flight. The villagers grasped one another's hands tighter, hearts igniting with a holy fire. Laughter bubbled forth, mingling with tears of joy. This was no mere natural event. This was God's divine invitation to step into the light, into something greater than they had imagined. But amidst the jubilation, Pastor Thomas still felt a tug within him. Could he, a mere shepherd, truly lead his people through the valley of uncertainty? Could their faith withstand the little cracks of doubt? Would Mrs. Agatha rise again? Or was this just a fleeting moment of divine mercy? As the eclipse reached its climax, the air quivered with unsung praises. The light enveloped them, wrapping around their hearts. Yet lingering questions hung like stars in a midnight sky, beckoning for answers. They stood on the precipice of transformation, unaware that this was just the beginning of a deeper journey. With the eclipse about to unveil its final marvel, an intimate hush spread across Eldersham once more. How would the community respond to what lay beyond this shadowed threshold? What divine revelations awaited them just a heartbeat away? And as the waning light danced upon their faces, one thing was certain: this was a moment that would change them forever. What awaited them, they could not yet fathom. The air crackled with anticipation as the final rays of the eclipse began to wane, slowly revealing the rich tapestry of stars that had hidden behind the veil of darkness. Pastor Thomas stood at the forefront of something extraordinary, feeling the weight of history pressing upon his shoulders. He breathed in deeply, drawing strength from the warmth of the assembled souls, their shared hope mingling in the cool evening air. "Look!" A voice broke through the whispers. It belonged to young Sarah, a girl with wide, innocent eyes sparkling like the stars overhead. "The light is returning." As the first glimmers of gold stretched across the horizon, a ripple of energy swept through the congregation. They began to sway gently back and forth, a collective dance of faith igniting hearts aflame. In that sacred moment, doubt started to retreat, overwhelmed by the warmth of belief surrounding them. Pastor Thomas raised his hands, a gesture of welcome and unity. "We stand together as witnesses. This is no ordinary night. Just as the dawn breaks after the darkest hour, our faith will rise anew." His words rang out, striking chords within the hearts of those assembled. The villagers turned their eyes upward, entranced by the celestial glow that painted their town in hues of lavender and gold. With every passing second, the light revealed more than what lay above it, unfurled a promise beneath. Hope sparkled like dew on the grass, refreshing and alive, whispering of miracles yet to come. Then suddenly, the once soft glow around Mrs. Agatha intensified, bathing her in divine light. Gasps erupted from the crowd, as if a current of electric anticipation ran through them. "She's glowing," someone exclaimed. Eyes widened, and breath caught in throats, staring at the transformation taking place. It was as if heaven itself was pouring its grace upon her. In that moment, the weight of skepticism seemed to lift. Even Mr. Harris, who had stood at the fringes with a cloud of doubt still hovering, found his heart beginning to transform. The glow brought with it a sense of peace and understanding that perhaps the divine mysteries were not just for the faithful, but were meant for all who dared to believe, even for the wandering hearts. "Let us pray," Pastor Thomas urged, his voice steady yet tender. Kneeling beside Mrs. Agatha, he placed his hands over hers. "We ask, dear Lord, illuminate us with your love. Barb our spirits with your truth. We await your work in this sacred moment." The congregation followed suit, reverently softening around Agatha, their voices rising like the tender wind. Each prayer was a step towards light, a heartfelt plea that resonated through the heavens. As they prayed, the glowing intensified, wrapping its warmth around them like a heavenly embrace. But amid this unfolding miracle, Pastor Thomas felt a stirring in his soul, a whisper just beyond his grasp. A thought echoed within him, laced with urgency. Was this glow simply an act of mercy, or was there a divine mission that accompanied it? Suddenly, a soft voice tugged at his attention, breaking through the fervent prayers. It was Mrs. Agatha, her eyes fluttering like fragile wings catching the breeze. The light she managed, each word tracing a line of extraordinary power. It carries a message, for the chosen gasps filled the air, anticipation crackling like lightning. What could this message be? Would it reach past their fears and doubts, reaching into the very heart of their village? With the chorus of hope surrounding them, hearts pulsing with unquenched zeal, one thought reverberated in the air like a divinely orchestrated symphony. They had not yet seen the fullness of God's plan for Eldersham. As the glowing figures of faith began to shift, an unseen force beckoned them closer to the threshold of revelation. They would soon discover the promise of the night, the promise of transformation. What awaited them beyond the sacred glow, beyond Mrs. Agatha's revealing words? The answers were just around the bend, catching the breath in their lungs, inviting them to step deeper into the mystery of God's unfolding story. As the prayers swirled like incense in the air, a profound stillness settled over the congregation. Eyes remained locked on Mrs. Agatha, her radiant glow almost tangible against the night sky. A hush fell upon the crowd, as if the very universe had paused to listen, to watch, to anticipate what was to come. Mrs. Agatha's voice, though fragile, carried the weight of realms unseen. The message it speaks of healing, reconciliation, and unity. Each word flowed from her lips like a gentle stream, bringing life to those who listened. The villagers leaned closer, hungering for understanding, craving the nuances of this newfound revelation. With every utterance, sparks of understanding ignited within them. People exchanged glances, questions danced in their eyes, but so did hope. Could they truly be chosen? Chosen for what purpose? A collective breath was held, trembling at the edge of uncertainty. Reconciliation, murmured Pastor Thomas, like a prayer in itself. Could it mend our hearts? Could it heal our land? Yes. Mrs. Agatha continued, emboldened by their rapt attention. The light calls for us to step out of our walls, to let go of our grudges, and embrace one another. The glow reveals our true selves, and through it, we can become vessels of God's grace. Mr. Harris, who had watched from the shadows, felt a tremor of recognition ripple through him. The weight of doubt began to lift. What if their shared pain could finally find healing? What if their hearts could be woven together rather than torn apart? The thought traveled through him, igniting a burning wish to believe more. The villagers began to murmur among themselves. Whispers of old rivalries and hurt feelings washed away in that illuminated moment. There was a shared understanding, an unspoken acknowledgement that this transformation rested in their hands. They would need to step into the light, shedding layers of bitterness. Pastor Thomas raised his head, caught in a moment of divine inspiration. We can't ignore this call. Our faith can ignite renewal. Let us hold our hands together as a sign of unity. As he spoke, villagers from all corners of Eldersham stepped into the circle forming around Mrs. Agatha, hands reaching for neighbors they had long avoided. The warmth of togetherness pooled around them, an electric surge that pulsed with each heartbeat. Laughter erupted, mingling with tears of joy. Love began to restore what had once been fragmented. Everywhere, faces illuminated with the freshly minted glow spoke of hope, of possibility. This night could mark the turning point. Yet, amid the rising tide of reconciliation, a shadow flickered at the edge of his mind. What was next? What lay beyond this moment of potential? Were they truly prepared for whatever new challenges and changes were in store? As the light around Mrs. Agatha flickered brilliantly, she raised her hands once more. But there is more to the message. It speaks of sacrifice and a test of faith. We have not been chosen just for blessing, but for the trials that will reveal our true spirits. Gasps echoed around them, mirroring the weight of a revelation. What sacrifices lay ahead, and how would they face them? Would they turn back, or would they stand resolute in faith? An electrifying tension filled the air, thick with uncertainty yet boundless hope. The stars twinkled above, as if relishing the unfolding drama. They now saw themselves as part of a larger tapestry woven through trials and triumphs alike. And so, in this moment of unity, of heart and spirit intertwined, the chosen stood on the threshold of transformation. What awaited them on the path ahead? What tests must they endure to embrace the fullness of God's call? As Mrs. Agatha's voice resonated into silence, one undeniable truth hung in the air: God's story was just beginning, and they would be the ones to write the next chapter. The mood shifted as whispers danced through the circle, each villager contemplating the weight of the truth they had just heard. Their thoughts were a mix of fear and excitement. What did these trials mean for them? Could they truly endure whatever lay ahead together? Mrs. Agatha, sensing their unease, smiled gently. The journey of faith is not without its storms. But remember this: every trial is an invitation to grow. The Lord does not lead us into darkness without purpose. Each challenge is a stepping stone to greater understanding. As her words hung in the air, Mr. Harris felt a surge of courage. Striving to hide among the shadows had left him lonely for too long. No more. I don't want to shrink away, he declared, his voice stronger than he had anticipated. I want to stand with you all, face whatever comes next. From the back, a collective murmur of agreement filled the circle. One by one, others stepped forward, ready to embrace the uncertainty. They reached for hands of neighbors they once avoided. It was a sacred moment of vulnerability and strength, a breathtaking dance of unity sparked by divine yearning. Pastor Thomas's heart swelled with gratitude. Let's prepare our hearts. We shall not only anticipate trials, but welcome them, for through them we will find God's grace. Are we ready to say yes? Yes, echoed the villagers, each voice intertwining into a symphony of faith and determination. As the last echoes faded, Mrs. Agatha's glow deepened, a resonant reminder of their newfound bond. There are messages wrapped in our shared experiences, treasures hidden beneath surfaces. We must listen for the signs, the sacred symptoms of the journey we are entering. Eager anticipation fluttered in the air what revelations awaited them. How would this path unfold? The stars, as witnesses, twinkled brightly, and the night air shimmered with the sacred energy of hope. Listen closely. The signs are everywhere. In moments of doubt, look around. In moments of hardship, lean on each other. And when you feel the urge to retreat, remember the light within you, for it shall guide your way, continued Mrs. Agatha, her voice a balm for their nudging fears. At that moment, a soft wind rustled the leaves above, almost as if carrying a divine message. A shared understanding swept over the villagers. They realized that each sign would not just signify trials, but also miracles awaiting their recognition. Imagine, Mr. Harris spoke softly, envisioning a future where love and faith intertwined in their lives. What if our unity could inspire others beyond Eldersham? What if they see our strength and come seeking hope? That thought ignited a fire in everyone's hearts. Dreams of restoring not only personal relationships, but also healing the wider world blossomed like vibrant flowers in their minds. Mrs. Agatha raised her arms toward the heavens, and her expression transformed into one of awe. Pray for clarity. Every day, ask for guidance. The signs and symptoms of the sacred are in each moment, revealing God's love. Are you prepared to recognize them? A collective silence enveloped them. Hearts pounding with anticipation, they sought the courage to embrace whatever awaited, holding tightly to one another's hands as a symbol of their unity. But then, a deep rumble resonated from afar, an echo of something stirring in the earth beneath them, a warning, or perhaps a call to action. The ground trembled slightly, and they looked at each other, each face reflecting uncertainty laced with faith. What was this sign? What was God preparing them for? Would their newfound courage be enough to face the unfolding chapters of their lives? As they exchanged worried glances, they felt the breath of divine mystery drawing closer, much like a promise ripe for discovery. With hearts full but questions swelling, they stood at the precipice of some deeper revelation. What awaited them as they stepped into the night, guided by the light within? They could sense that tomorrow would unveil even more sacred truths. The sun rose slowly the next morning, casting a golden hue over Eldersham. Birds sang sweetly, their melodies dancing on the fresh breeze, as a hint of something remarkable shimmered in the air. The villagers gathered once more, forming a circle beneath the old oak tree, its branches stretching out like arms ready to embrace them. Pastor Thomas stood at the center, his heart racing with expectation. Today, we'll seek the signs that were promised, he declared, his voice steady yet filled with urgency. Each villager nodded, their faces painted with hope and determination. Remember, Mrs. Agatha urged, her eyes sparkling, our hearts need to be open. We must listen intently, not just with our ears, but with our souls. As their hands joined together, the warmth of their connected spirits flowed through the circle. Each pulse of unity resonated, almost as if summoning the sacred. They closed their eyes, inhaling deeply, and in that moment, they felt a swell of peace. A few moments passed, and then the wind swept in, swirling around them, caressing their cheeks. It carried with it a rustling whisper, a sound both gentle and commanding. Recognizing it as a sign, Mr. Harris opened his eyes and pointed skyward. "Look!" he exclaimed breathlessly. High above, a flock of birds soared in a V formation, something that felt more than just natural. It beckoned to their hearts with divine purpose. Gasps erupted from the villagers, their breaths held in anticipation. Then migrate together, Pastor Thomas said, his voice strong with meaning. This is unity in motion. We must also be like those birds, moving together in faith through trials and triumphs. A ripple of understanding washed through the circle. They realized that this was not merely a sign. It was a calling to embrace their collective journey. Each twist and turn of the trials ahead would be traversed together, just as the flock stayed close, even through stormy skies. Mrs. Agatha gestured toward the ground, urging them to look closely. There among the roots, there is growth a small flower, pushing through the earth. See its vibrant colors? That flower symbolizes resilience. Each of us can bloom despite the darkness. Encouraged, the villagers knelt to inspect the little flower. They felt a collective warmth enveloping them as they touched the soft petals, cherishing the message of hope embedded within. That flower also teaches us patience, she continued, her voice imbued with tenderness. It takes time and nurturing to blossom. Are we prepared to cultivate faith in our hearts so we, too, can bear fruit? Yes, they replied, their spirits lifting. Each word felt like a prayer rising to heaven. But just then, above them, storm clouds began to gather, growing ominous as they swirled into dark formations. A few hearts began to race again, this time not in unity, but in fear. What does this mean? A voice quivered from the edge of the circle. Mr. Harris took a deep breath, his newfound courage steadying him. Perhaps it means that storms can come, but they cannot extinguish the light we have within us. We must hold on to one another and push through. With resolve now ignited, the villagers ranged closer. The dark clouds overhead swirled like a warning, yet also whispered promises of renewal. Mrs. Agatha's arms extended wide once again. And remember this, after every storm, there's a rainbow. We must trust that beyond the trials, God's love and gifts await us. Can we promise to keep looking for the light? Yes, they shouted, their voices rising up like incense, a fragrant offering in the waiting air. As they stood together, they felt a shift, a palpable energy surrounding them. They could sense that they were being guided on a divine path, pregnant with possibility. But what new challenges lay ahead? What would be the next sign that God unfurled for them? With hearts alight, with faith yet shadowed with uncertainty, they took one collective step forward, ready to embrace whatever awaited them. The wind howled gently, curling around the villagers like a cloak of anticipation. The dark clouds loomed, but Pastor Thomas felt a flicker of hope within him. Let us not shy away from the tempest, he proclaimed, his voice rising as he looked into their faces. For even the fiercest storms can bring forth new life. With renewed vigor, the gathered souls focused on their inner light. They could feel the pulse of the earth beneath them, a reminder of the strength that lay deep within. Mrs. Agatha opened her eyes, her heart racing. What is it I see? She gasped softly, pointing toward the horizon where the dark skies met the first blush of morning. A faint glimmer began to break through the clouds, casting rays of golden sunlight that cut through the shadows. The villagers turned to witness the spectacle, a perfect reminder of God's promises. Look at the light, Mr. Harris shouted, his spirit buoyed. It is breaking through, just like our faith. Those rays are not just sun, Pastor Thomas declared, holding his arms wide. They are divine assurance, the very essence of hope that shines despite the shadow. Just as we need rain to nurture our flowers, we need challenges to deepen our faith and unify our hearts. The villagers looked at one another, their eyes brightening with understanding. The storm clouds were merely a passage, not a destination. We will embrace these moments, someone cried from back. We will cherish them as they shape us. Together, they began to share, out loud, their fears and desires. I fear losing my way, whispered young Lily, her voice trembling. And I fear I might not be enough, echoed old Mr. Jenkins, with a quiver in his tone. In each confession, there was a thread of connection, weaving a stronger tapestry among them. As they shared their burdens, the air grew lighter, the storm clouds seeming to recede, if just a little. Pastor Thomas, inspired, moved closer. Friends, let us lift these fears to God. May we lay them at his feet as we reach together for his love. Hands clasped tighter as they formed a deeper bond. In that moment, they were not merely individuals, but a collective heart, beating and longing for promise. As they bowed their heads, a soft murmur arose, woven into the fabric of prayer. It was not loud, yet it echoed, a sweet melody that curved heavenward. They prayed for courage, for peace, for guidance through whatever challenges the storm might bring. Then, as if the atmosphere shook with holy resonance, they opened their eyes to see something remarkable. A radiant rainbow arched across the sky, vibrant and alive, breathless against the backdrop of dark, swirling clouds. "Oh, look!" Mrs. Agatha exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. "It is a sign of God's covenant. a promise that He is with us, no matter what storms may come. Gasps filled the circle again, as hope flickered to life in their hearts. Each of them remembered stories of old, of how rainbows brought joy, of how they are reminders that God's love is always present. Pastor Thomas, now emerging with fervor, preached, "This is our moment," a divine message that we are seen and cherished. Let us remember that we are together not just in joy, but in every trial. The road ahead may not be easy, but the light and love of God shall be our guide. Just as he was about to continue, a sudden clap of thunder rumbled across the sky, shaking them. Their hearts paused, caught in lingering anticipation. How could the storm also hold such beauty? With eyes wide, they looked skyward, feeling the tension in the air. What more does God wish to show us? A voice asked tentatively. The answer hung like a promise in the air, rich with wonder. What awaited them in the unfolding days? As they held each other close, they stepped into the vivid light of the next chapter, embarking together on a path of faith that was only just beginning. The villagers remained rooted in awe, gazing at the vibrant rainbow that seemed to bridge the heavens and their hopes. The colors shimmered, a divine spectrum inviting each person to step forward in faith. Pastor Thomas, sensing a stirring in his spirit, lifted his hands and called the hearts around him to unite. Friends, look closely. That rainbow is more than a sign. It is a herald of prophecy. It reminds us that though the tempests may come, hope follows in its wake. His words flowed like a river of encouragement. God speaks even in the storm. He beckons us to look beyond fear and to pursue the goodness He has crafted for our lives. Tears welled in the eyes of many. Old Mr. Jenkins wiped his cheeks with a trembling hand. Pastor, it is as if the very heavens are echoing our fears in vibrant colors. He murmured, voice thick with emotion. I have often wondered if God was listening. Yet today he paused, glancing at the children clutching their parents. Today, I believe, the ripple of agreement swept through them, a soft chorus of Amen and Hallelujah. The thunder had given them a jolt, but now the sunlight and the rainbow poured over them with a gentle warmth. They felt invigorated, transformed into a community seeking a deeper connection. As they began to share stories of how they had seen God at work, a lovely sense of unity prevailed. Young Lily, brimming with courage, stood and declared, "Remember last summer, when we thought our crops would fail? It was through our struggles that we learned to help one another." Laughter and memories tumbled forth, each tale sparking joy and renewed faith. "Yes," cried Mrs. Agatha, her voice alive with resonance. "Each time we gathered, we planted seeds not just in the ground, but in each other's hearts. We were interwoven just like this rainbow." Their voices soared higher, harmonizing with the wind as if the world around them echoed their delight, each word a step deeper into divine understanding. Yet the storm still lingered in the distance. The clouds, though receding, reminded them that trials were part of the journey. And amidst the joy arose another thought, one that caused the atmosphere to shiver softly. What if the rainbow was merely the prelude to something more? "Pastor," a voice piped up from the back, seemingly nervous yet emboldened. "What if God is showing us that we are to be the light for others? What if we must now take this promise to those who need to see the rainbow?" Pastor Thomas pondered the words, recognizing a powerful invitation for them all. The villagers nodded, feeling the pressing call to action resonate within their hearts. A sacred weight of purpose formed around them. Could they be messengers of this newfound faith? A deep silence filled the air, ripe with expectation. "Indeed," he responded slowly, "God has not only gifted us with a vision, but called us to be His hands, His feet in this world." But how? What does He want us to do next? Each question lingered in their minds, echoing with potential as the rainbow began to fade softly. Hearts thumping, they exchanged glances, uncertainty and eagerness dancing in their eyes. What awaited them beyond the horizon of faith? Would they heed the call to carry this message into the world? What would their next step entail? As they took a collective breath, A sense of anticipation electrified the air. The storm might hold secrets yet unrevealed. What divine steps would lead them into uncharted territories, promising fulfillment beyond their wildest dreams? The villagers lingered in the glow of the rainbow, yet their hearts beat with urgency. The horizon, brushed with the last remnants of the storm, beckoned them to action. Pastor Thomas could feel the rising tide of fervor as the individuals shared quiet glances, each one wrestling with a deepening awareness of their calling. "Gather round," he called, his voice breaking through the electric hush. "We are not merely spectators to this divine promise. We are participants, meant to carry this hope beyond our own borders." As he spoke, a gentle breeze rustled through the trees, almost as if agreeing with his sentiment. It felt like the Spirit moving among them, stirring a newfound determination. "What should we do?" came a voice, timid yet filled with longing. It was young Timothy, eyes bright with possibility. "Can we really take this hope to others? Do we know how?" Pastor Thomas considered Timothy's question, the weight of expectation echoing in the hearts of all present. "We must reach out," he said, "to those who have not seen what we have. We should share our stories of faith and resilience, our examples of love through the storms. Let them hear of the colors of hope that now paint our lives." Encouraged by their pastor's words, the villagers began to visualize the neighborhoods beyond their own. They pictured families struggling, lost in despair. They envisioned the empty hearts waiting to be filled with light, just as theirs had been that day. As they shared their ideas, plans began to form. "I can bake bread," exclaimed Mrs. Agatha. "Each loaf can carry a prayer with it. I'll visit the homes that Haven Tea felt joy in a while. I'll gather the children," chimed in Lily, "and we can prepare songs of praise. We can bring joy to every doorstep." Ripples of enthusiasm grew, words weaving a tapestry of hope and purpose. Each villager had a unique gift to share, a divine talent waiting to turn the laughter of the rainbow into action. Yet, as they filled with excitement, an unseen weight pressed against their progress. The air grew thick with an unspoken hesitation. They exchanged worried glances, recognizing the shadows of doubt that lingered beneath their collective zeal. "What if they laugh at us?" A voice hesitated, uncertainty creeping in. "What if they reject our gifts?" "Fear not," Pastor Thomas declared, stepping forward with resolute confidence. "The God who painted this rainbow is with us. He does not call the equipped, he equips the called." Miracles spring forth from faith, sometimes even from our doubts. His face illuminated the shadows, igniting a spark of courage in the hearts of the villagers. One by one, their voices filled the air with affirmations, building an unbreakable unity. "We trust in him. We will shine." Before long, each heart was set aflame with courage, their resolve to step into the unknown igniting like a wildfire. Then, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows on the ground, a sudden stillness swept over them. It was as if the world held its breath. The fading twilight transformed into an ethereal glow, revealing shimmering orbs of light, a dance of fireflies surrounding them, a sacred display of divine approval. Amidst the silence, Pastor Thomas leaned in closer, sensing a palpable energy. "Is this a sign?" he murmured, awestruck. "Are we being guided?" What deeper insights are hidden in this moment as our stories intertwine with the divine? As he spoke, uncertainty intermingled with excitement, the villagers' eyes wide and yearning for clarity. What lay ahead? What new revelations did God intend for them in their quest to be messengers of hope? A divine mystery lingered in the air. Could their fears unravel into faith? What awaited them as they ventured into the unknown, reaching out to heal the broken and share the colors of the rainbow? The answers beckoned, just as the fading light wrapped around them tightly. The collective journey was about to unfold. The dawn broke gently over Eldersam. Sunlight streamed through windows, illuminating the hearts of those who gathered once again beneath the old oak tree. The air buzzed with the excitement of purpose, hope mingling softly with the anticipation that hung like dew upon the grass. Pastor Thomas stood at the forefront, his spirit buoyed by the unity that enveloped them. Friends, today we step out. We embody the promise of the rainbow. Our mission is to share, to spread love, to be the light. His words ignited a fire within those present. Young Lily, her heart brimming with enthusiasm, bounced forward. Let us visit Mrs. Thompson. She has always been so lonely since Mr. Thompson passed. A chorus of agreement echoed around her. Let's bake together, Mrs. Agatha added, her voice full of warmth. We'll nourish their bodies as we share our stories, planting seeds of hope. We'll transform lives. One by one, ideas flourished. The villagers now became a living tapestry of talents, all intertwined with one singular mission to bring the warmth of faith beyond their own borders. But amid this anticipation, a shadow flickered a lingering fear. Old Mr. Harris looked around, his voice quaking with a familiar tremor. What if our efforts fall flat? What if it doesn't work? His words hung in the air, thick like the fog. Whispers of doubt found their way back into the hearts of some. Yet, Pastor Thomas sensed the creeping shadows and stepped forward boldly, his eyes ablaze with conviction. Fear is a ghost, a shadow that fades when faced with faith. He proclaimed, remember the glow we felt? That divine presence? It's not gone. It's within us. Let God breathe life into our efforts. A hush fell again, then slowly rippled into murmurs of understanding. The light within each of them flickered, and hope surged once more. One by one, hands rose in unity, affirming their commitment to take step beyond their reservations. And so, with renewed vigor, they set forth. Mrs. Agatha led a group to prepare their cherished baked goods, scents of cinnamon and sugar wafting through the old church hall. Young Sarah and Lily vanished into the playground nearby, gathering the neighborhood kids, laughter bursting from their lungs as they planned songs and shared smiles. As the day unfolded, each corner of Eldersheim lit up with the vibrant hues of giving. They poured their hearts into every act, each ounce of love reflecting the spirit of hope and faith that had transformed them. Soon, though, the sun began its descent, and the shadows lengthened before them, whispering echoes of fear as they returned home. What if they're not receptive? What if they reject our love? The questions began to softly creep back into hearts, uninvited yet familiar. Pastor Thomas gathered them once more beneath the sprawling oak, sensing the weight of uncertainty that lingered. Friends, he began, let us take a moment to reflect on this journey of faith. Each of us has sown seeds. Our role is to act in love, not to control the harvest. Mr. Harris, feeling the warmth of camaraderie, stood with newfound confidence. We've learned that even amidst trials, hope bursts forth like that flower we found. Others nodded, the fear of rejection slowly transforming into gratitude. As they closed their eyes, a gust of wind swept through the branches above them, rustling and whispering, as if carrying prayers from above. A divine presence washed over them, and the very air shimmered with clarity. In that calm, Mrs. Agatha's voice rose, imbued with strength. Friends, whether our gifts are received or not, know this: we are changed. We are the messengers, and our faith will invite others into our glow. The seeds travel far, and their true growth may surprise us in ways we cannot yet imagine. A collective breath filled their lungs, hearts fluttering with hope and release. They opened their eyes to each other, recognizing the courage that had knitted them together, a chosen family forged in faith. Pastor Thomas smiled, his heart full. Let us embrace this. Tomorrow, we will continue our mission, and we shall. Remember, we serve an abundant, marvelous God. Even in the darkest nights, his light shines brighter. They rose, hands reaching out to one another, the warmth echoing louder than any doubt. In that sacred circle of togetherness, they made a new commitment not just to reach outwards, but also inwards, to bolster each other as spirits as they walked this journey hand in hand. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars awakened, they felt renewed. They were anointed by divine purpose, a community bound together, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Tomorrow would unveil new opportunities for miracles. And so, with hearts ablaze with love and purpose, they departed, each soul a flickering candle radiating hope in the night. What awaited them in the dawn? Only their faithful hearts could lead the path forward. God's story was now theirs to tell, each vibrant chapter awaiting their commitment. This was the moment they embraced the divine design, stepping out in fearless faith, prepared to be sent into the world. And upon that sacred foundation, their hearts sang in unison, a chorus carved in eternity, echoing into the unknown. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to support the channel. Only true servants of God understand the importance of these actions.